Hey kawan, welcome to EDCReady. Today we are doing a review of this guy. This is the Kershaw Shuffle 2. Now before I continue, I'd just like to give a shout out to the company that loaned me this knife for the review. It is Have a Nice Day, thomastools.com.my. You guys would have heard of them already. They do support channel by providing loaners for reviews. You can check out the link in the description box down below. That is where you can go and get this knife from them. Alright, so without further ado, we have here the Kershaw Shuffle. It is one of the many versions of the Kershaw Shuffles throughout the years. We have versions with screwdrivers and a whole bunch of other stuff. This is the Shuffle 2, which means it has the bottle opener, it has the tanto blade, and it has this flathead screwdriver slash pry tool right here. But first, let's get into the measurement. Alright, now while we are measuring, do check out my Patreon down below if you want to help support the channel. Now my calipers here are reading right around 2.55 inches or so. Okay, so that is the blade length in total we have here. Just because you have a huge sharpening choil, let's measure this. About 2.25 inches of cutting edge. We have a handle length, including the little pry bar tool at the end there, that comes in just under 4 inches. We have a blade stock thickness of right around 0.1 inches. We have a handle thickness of 0.4 inches, very thin knife. And then if you can just fold this up, let's get the height, or the width of the knife. This is coming in at 1.3 inches. And then weighing scale here, switch it on. We have here a weight of about 83 grams. Don't know if you can see that. Right, about 83 grams, 84 grams, which is right around 3 ounces, or 2.9 something ounces. Alright, without further ado, let's get into the review from tip to butt. Let's start with the blade here. I really like this blade. This blade is fantastic. You have a little compound grind thing going on, so you have a little hollow grind here, and then you have a little a flat ground portion here. Very nice. It means that, couple that with the fact that this has a very thin stock with this hollow grind, even though it's not very tall, it comes to a very fine edge. This is pretty sharp coming out of the box. Another thing I really like is a tanto blade. So you have a flat portion, another flat portion, 2 points to cut with or to penetrate with. You have here and here, which means it's going to be great for any kind of box cutting that you need to do. Just pierce in and pull back. You have that point. Very nice. It has a nice little finish right here. I believe this is a BlackWash, a black acid wash, I believe, or just an acid, I don't know, whatever it is, it's nice. This black acid wash kind of thing has a nice feel to it. It almost has a matte feeling. It doesn't feel as satiny as something that's a satin finish, but it's definitely not like a coating. You don't feel like a DLC coating or whatever. It has this kind of nice, and it's just really nice texture. It has a nice look to it as well. The Kershaw stamp right there is etched in nicely. I really like that. You also have a nice comfortable grip on here on the blade itself. You have a nice little sharpening choil right here, and these edges here, they're not very sharp, they're nice and rounded. I don't know if it's from any kind of like rounding off the edges here or whatever from the finish, but it's very nice. The handle, the steel here is 8CR13 MOV. Not my favorite steel. Good corrosion resistance, not very good edge retention. However, being such an affordable knife, it's going to be a-okay. Thumb studs are actually very nice on this. Okay, they're not very sharp, but they give you a good amount of traction. In fact, the only negative thing I have to say about this blade is this detent hole right there. So in most knives, frame locks like and liner locks, you do have a detent hole, but it's hidden somewhere in the frame of the knife. So when the knife closes, it sucks in the detent like that. This guy does have a detent because it is a liner lock. Pretty strong detent, I might add. However, I really wish that they would have covered this. Unfortunately, being out in the open like this, you can have like grit or dust or sand or whatever go into there, and then that can maybe just compromise the strength of your detent a little bit. Alright, moving back a little bit, let's talk about my biggest problem with this knife, which is right here. It has a tip down pocket clip. The pocket clip is reversible for left and right side. However, I am not a fan of tip down. I much prefer tip up carry. Now the previous shuffle was a tip up carry, however the back spacer was designed differently. So in this case, if you had a tip up carry, you would probably need it over here or whatever, which means that it would actually be quite a shallow carry. So it's not bad in terms of tip down carry. Okay, I understand why they needed to do tip down because of this back spacer pry bar tool thing, and it does go pretty deep into the pocket. You can actually get it all the way up to this deep in the pocket. Yeah, however, tip down carry, not such a big fan of that, mainly due to ergonomics, because when you grip the knife right here, you're gonna feel this clip in your hand, and that's mainly my biggest problem with tip down carry. But you know, this just, to be honest, that's kind of a personal preference to me. Some people don't mind it at all. Now, moving a little bit further back, I already talked about the detent. The detent's nice and strong. However, it is running on Teflon washers, and I've not taken it apart to clean it yet. I suppose if I do clean it, add a bit of lube, it might actually be a little bit smoother, but this is actually very difficult to flick out because of that Teflon combination. There we go. It needs a lot of strength to flick out with your thumb and a lot of strength to flick out with your middle finger. But the detent, as I already mentioned, is quite strong. However, it does not have a detent ball ramp, so it has a pretty big jump before you can get on it. But one thing I do like about this lock bar right here, this liner lock bar right here, is that it has a nice click when you engage it. Just listen to that. Yeah, that's a nice click. Listen to that again. Yeah, that's nice. Some other materials, some other knives doesn't have that kind of positive feedback of sound. Yeah, so it sounds, I guess because it's a different kind of material. This is a titanium and carbon fiber. This here is GFN and steel liners right there. Speaking of steel liners, you do have steel liners on both sides, so it does feel very strong in hand. Couple that with this nice thick back spacer, this knife actually feels quite durable in hand, and that's one of the best things I can say about the handle of this guy right here. Is using a GFN glass, GFRN glass something nylon, glass fiber with nylon, something like that. I'm not sure what it means, but it feels nice in the hand. It feels a little bit better than my Para 3 Lightweight, the FRN here. In terms of its texture, I actually like this texture quite a bit compared to this texture. This can feel a little bit slippery. This has some nice textures on it. It also has this kind of rock formation, milling, or sorry, not milling, molding. It's molded with this nice rock texture. Couple that with these nice deep finger chorals all the way around, this actually feels very comfortable in hand. This has got to be one of the most comfortable knives in hand, despite having the pocket right up to where my hand grips. And there's a couple of reasons for that. I already mentioned about the texturing here. I already mentioned about how the material feels. I love the material feel. The finger grooves right here fit perfectly in hand, and you have this nice curve. So when you hold on to the hand, it just really just shapes into your hand. Just really nice. I really like that. Now, one bad thing I have to say about the ergonomics is that it does have really sharp internal, not liners. The internal parts of these handles are actually quite sharp. So if you have this, if this is my personal one, I would take like a little sandpaper and just very finely just round out those edges, because it can be a little bit sharp. Those are the only hot spots that I can think of when holding this knife. Now, let's move on to the other business end of this knife. The back part here, you have a little bottle cap opener. I've never used it. I assume it's fine. I don't know. You have this nice little jimping in the back here, and this is the only jimping you have on the knife, and it's done quite well. It kind of sits flush with the bottom. The bottom of this jimping sits flush with the handles, and then you get nice like texturing over here. It's not sharp, but it does provide a little something for you to grip onto. Very nice. And then you have this little screwdriver slash pry bar tip right here. It's actually on there pretty securely. I can't imagine you ever like breaking this or whatever, unless you're really trying to. Using this as like a makeshift flathead screwdriver or slight pry bar or scraping tool, really like that. So in conclusion, hold on, did I leave out anything? No, that's about it. In conclusion, what do I think about this knife? This knife is actually a really good tool knife. If you're the kind of person that is not fussed about steels, or you're not a knife snob, whatever, you are looking for something that's a little bit more than a knife, but you don't really feel like carrying around a Swiss Army knife or whatever. You want something that's relatively light and very thin. This carries very thinly in the pocket. This is going to be a pretty good knife for you. A couple of things kind of turn me off about it. The tip down carry turns me off about it. This little detent hole on the outside kind of turns me off about it. And Yeah, that's about it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the review, and of course check out the links in the description down below. And as always, stay ready, and thank you once more to thomasTools.com.my for loaning me this knife. Ciao, guys.